you take Nancy Pelosi at her own words and you put it on commercials and billboards. That is what you should do. Now, what is the likelihood that Republicans will actually do something as smart as that? Y'all know how I feel about these Republican consultants. So, but there it is, Mr. President. If you're listening, I have some of his people coming on today. We're going to have Caroline Levitt is going to be joining us, as well as Kevin Wax, the young guy over in New York, the president of the New York Republican Club. But right now, I have my new best friend, Dr. Geeta Ramaswamy, is on the line. Geeta, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I am so excited, guys. This is a treat for you. On Father's Day, as you know, is this Sunday, June 16th. And well, here we love fathers around here, and we want to celebrate our dads. And with the timely Father's Day message, I like to bring on my new best friend, as I just said, Miss Geeta Ramaswamy. And if her last name sounds familiar, it should. Yes, she is also the mother of Vivek Ramaswamy, and y'all know how I feel about him. I adore him, as so many of you do as well. But before Geeta was Vivek's mom, she was a woman in her own right, a very accomplished woman. A psychiatrist. She received her residency training and fellowship training in geriatric psychiatry at the University of Cincinnati. She practiced in Cincinnati for several years, but is currently retired. So with that, let me just welcome you onto the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. Now, you and I, we were talking earlier this week because I was if you spend any amount of time with Geeta, your voice is just calming. And then to know that you are also a psychiatrist, I called you because I had been reading about, just recently I came into the knowledge of this thing called a U-shape, a U-curve of happiness. Happiness is generally depicted as a U-curve, and it's based on age. So the younger you are, the happier you are. And then as life happens, paying bills, mortgages, all of these different things around your 40 is like the most depressing time, according to this U-curve of a person's life. But then you retire, you have grandchildren, and now you're back on the upswing. And for the first time, probably starting in 2017, this curve has become a little bit inverted, that the most depressed people in our country are young people, ages 18 to 25. And it's not just happening here in America. This particular story is over 83 different countries. And so, Geeta, I called you earlier this week, and I was like, help me make sense of this. What is going on with our young people? And you just had so much wisdom, and I asked you to come on and to share a little bit of that.
Thank you, Kathy. So it is not surprising that this is happening. In fact, I would not even think about a curve. Right now, it seems like there is mental health epidemic globally, and so everybody has depression and anxiety, and I think it's across the board, all ages, all groups. I'm not surprised at all. What is the trigger for mental health disorders? Is stress. We are surrounded by stress because of anger, hostility, judgment, name-calling every day starting in the morning. And the antidote to that is compassion and empathy. As a psychiatrist, I can tell you compassion and empathy are the pillars of psychiatry. You are compassionate to somebody, and empathy, I don't mean sympathy. There's a difference for those of you who may not be familiar. Sympathy is about feeling sorry for somebody. There's a boundary. It's you versus me. I'm glad I'm not in your shoes. But empathy is actually experiencing what the other person is from their standpoint. And I think we need to do some of that. But as a physician, I can say one of the things that disturbs me is in the medical field, we have done very well for physical health, but not for mental health. And by that, I mean prevention. Prevention is always better than cure. And as you know, in heart diseases, cardiovascular, we have come a long way. Diet, exercise, lifestyle management, we've done very well. But in mental health, you do not hear much about prevention. It's all about treatment. And I think we need to start at prevention if we want to get to the core of this.
Prevention. And what do you mean by that?
So again, you cannot prevent disorders, but you can minimize the impact. For example, those who already have psychiatric disorders get worse by triggers caused by stress. People who do not have a psychiatric disorder pre-existing are prone to that when you're surrounded by stress. So stress management techniques, we have all heard about meditation, mindfulness, and others. But I think we can go a little bit beyond that. And I said, when I say compassion, empathy, I truly mean that as treatment. Because if we are cognizant of what the other person is going through and stand in their shoes, we will probably as a society behave better. You talked about the curve. And I'm telling you, Kathy, the curve is going even deeper, meaning even from preschool kids.
Yes.
There's a depression and anxiety setting on because we are always constantly judged. The social media has not helped us at all. I recently came across the term FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yes,
and I think that
I remember you mentioning. I remember you mentioning that to me, and that is so true. But let me just double click on something before we move on to that part of it, is because I think I mentioned to you, I don't know what day it was, yesterday or today, but that, this idea of always being stressed. I mean, we live in a culture where I feel like I'm told I have to be angry all the time. There's something to be angry about all the time. I turn on the news, I go on social media, I'm around my friends, just walking around, and it always seems like either I'm being told I need to be angry about something or I'm told to be fearful about something.
So you kind of brought out what I was going to say. When you say angry, anger turns inwards, becomes depression. And fear makes it anxiety. So you have depression, anxiety right there. And then that leads to suicide. The reason is we need some more grounding, and that begins at home. And I think right now, because the parents, teachers, and students, everybody is stressed out, I think our focus has shifted from getting better to getting worse. Honestly, I think I would like to share a simple life lesson because in the interest of time, I think I cannot get into the entire field of psychiatry.
Right.
But a simple life lesson that I learned has helped me navigate through my life, and I've shared it with my patients and friends and family, several of who have benefited from it. And being Father's Day weekend, I figure I should share it because this simple life lesson came to me not from med school, not from my psychiatry training, but from my dear dad, who taught me a life lesson when I needed it most. The reason I want to talk about this is the stress comes from decision-making a lot of times. Now that we have more choices, you would think life is easier. In fact, it's more difficult because you just see what other people are doing, and then you want to do the same thing, whether you like it or not. In psychiatry, we talk about ego syntonic and ego dystonic. And I'm not talking about ego in the traditional sense. Ego meaning the self-ideal, your own inner self. Each of us has our own inner self. We want to do something that aligns with our personality, our behaviors, our thoughts, and our views. That is where our comfort zone is. And when you function like that in society, when you just live by your own inner ideal, you will find much more peace than trying to emulate or imitate somebody else, which is actually ego dystonic. Ego dystonic behavior is opposite to that. So it is anti to your own self-ideal. So you end up doing something that you are not. And then you end up feeling depressed, anxious, because there's a feeling of inadequacy. You're not able to fit into that new shoe. And that, in turn, can even cause obsessive-compulsive disorders and other difficult psychiatric disorders. So this simple life lesson my father taught me, and if I may, I would like to share it.
Yes,
because it was a turning point in my life. Is that okay to do that now?
Yes, please do.
Great. Being Father's Day, I thought, let me honor my dad by sharing this story. So my dad was not a college graduate. He could not afford to go to college. My mother and he just had high school education. But one thing that he ingrained in both me and my sister were that people can take away your money, but they can never take away your education. That stuck with me from the beginning. He worked really hard and was very proud that both my sister and I became doctors. We were the first in the family to do that. And again, the credit to the government, it was funded because I had a merit admission. So that allowed me to go to med school. And I came over to the United States and did my psychiatry residency and my fellowship at the University of Cincinnati, which, again, I'm very grateful. It was a wonderful program. I loved what I was doing. I was in my mid-20s, finishing up my geriatric fellowship. And I really was looking forward to getting a new job. I had many job offers. Everything was going great. I really enjoyed treating patients with depression, anxiety, cognitive disorders, Alzheimer's disease, helping their families. So everything was wonderful. On a personal level, though, I was, again, in my mid-20s. I had a toddler, 3-year-old, and I was pregnant with my second child. And every day I would drop him at the babysitter's. Both of us would cry. He would cry and wail and holding his 2 trucks in his little hands and his chubby cheeks crying. And I would drive away crying, thinking I'm failing as a mom, because my mom was able to stay at home, take care of us all the time. So did several of my friends and family members. So then I had a conflict. It's like, am I doing the right thing? Am I failing as a mom?
Right.
But when I went to work, it's like, I love what I'm doing. I can't give this up. So I was racking my brains. People were giving me unsolicited advice, and I could see that no matter what I did, I would be wrong. I would be blamed. I did not know what to do. I called my dad. My dad, who is a high school graduate, but is a gold mine of wisdom. He has been my mentor and actually was my therapist as well. So I asked him, Dad, what can I do? And I explained the situation.
Right.
He laughed as always and said, look, I'm not a doctor. I only have a high school diploma. And I'm not a mother, so I cannot tell you exactly what to do. But I can tell you a story which might help you. And this story, though sounds simple, is very, very deep. So it was a story which you might have heard. It's a father, son, and a donkey. The father, son, and donkey go through a village, and their legs hurt, so the son sits on the donkey. And the father walks on his side, and the villagers look at the son and say, oh, you son, so selfish, your poor dad is walking. So they switch. In the second village, the dad sits on the donkey. And again, of course, as you would expect, they comment negatively about the dad. So the third village, they both sit on the donkey. And as you would guess, they say, poor donkey, look at these people. So the fourth village, what do? They carry the donkey. So my dad said, if you listen to everyone around you, you will be the fools like the son and the father who carry the donkey. So he said, you know your situation best. You measure it, you decide what works best for you. And that's exactly what I did. I'm not saying that decision it wasn't right for other people, not even for my sister or my friends, but for me, knowing my situation, how I felt, what I did was I worked school hours. So I was able to put the kids on the bus, go and do all my work, whether it's inpatient, outpatient, nursing home, and teaching as well, come back in time for when they get off the bus. And I did that till they grew older into high school. And whether it's right or wrong, it worked for me. That brings me back to the ego syntonicity. For me, that was ego syntonic because it aligned with my self-ideal. And that gave me peace. And that is what I would say to everybody out there. The reason I'm here today is if this story helps anybody who is listening, I would be very happy. Because if we can live with ourselves, right now we are in a social media frenzy that we see pictures on Instagram and people go off on vacations to places they didn't even want to go. You may not even like to ride a plane or stay in a hotel, but you do it just because a friend did that. We go on a fad diet because we think that's what everybody does, eat quinoa or whatever else is the fad for the day. If it doesn't align with you, don't do it.
Oh my
do
God.
it because you want to. So if you can put your heart and passion into what you're doing, and I can guarantee there'll be millions of people pointing fingers, saying negative things about you. That's always the case. There'll be a whole bunch of people, if you're fortunate, who are your supporters and cheerleaders. And then there will be a set of people who don't even care. But at the end of the day, it's your life. You know yourself best. And I think you can be your best therapist. So I think if we can start with groundwork, feeling peaceful, calm, contented, and sure of what you're doing without wavering, I think that in itself, you can see will calm you down. And you asked me earlier, you feel angry? You don't have to feel angry. We are angry because we're not sure. We hear some things, we are in doubt. So we begin to believe what the other person is saying, and that's the anger, because it's an internal turmoil. It is not, you're not agreeing with it completely, but there's a conflict. But if you are sure and confident of who you are and what you want, that conflict will go away. Then you will see the resentment and anger is outside. You can look at it in a detached way. You look at it as a drama from inside. Okay, that's what he's doing or she's doing. This is what I'm doing. That's okay. And I think that's the beauty of life. We don't have to judge ourselves or anybody else. We don't have to force our values on other people. If everybody can live their own life, that is the beauty. God created us this way so we can have a life where each of us do what we are, and that's the beauty. We all come together. So that is the story I wanted to say. Actually, I went to India back. I went to my father a few years later, 30 years later, when I was talking to him, I said, Pa, I told this story on his podium during my talks, and he said, you talked about my father-son donkey story on a podium in the great United States of America? He started laughing. That was a precious moment. Unfortunately, it was my last father-daughter moment. I came back. In 2 days, I got a call. My dad had passed away. I went back for his funeral.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
I'm thanking you, Kathy, for letting me honor my dad on this Father's Day weekend.
And not just honoring your father, but honoring us as well and giving us some priceless wisdom. I mean, I am literally sitting up here crying, and you had already told me this story before, but it just hits me, right? As a woman, as a mom, but in this culture, looking at my husband, everyone is trying to do their best. And usually it's because we're not trusting ourselves. Do we find ourselves in some sense of anger or despair or loneliness or whatever the case may be? So, Geetha, thank you. You are amazing.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope it helped people out there. Thank you so much, everybody. Happy Father's Day.
Yes.
Happy Father's Day.
Yes. Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day to your son, Vivek, as well as to your husband as well. Play the music, guys. Wrap me up out of here. Yes. Guys, I'm going to see y'all on the other side. Here's the number, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. Call me. Let's talk about this. Yes. Grinding.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I am a father.
I am a mentor.
I am a wife.
I am an artist.
I am a husband.
I am a friend.
I am a sports fan.
I am your neighbor.
I am a member of your church.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a police officer.
Support your local law enforcement officials. Sponsored by the Pennsylvania Fraternal Order of Police. Visit partnersinpublicsafety.com.
We all know baseball is a long season. I'm Brett Boone from the Brett Boone Podcast. This summer, take a trip down memory lane with me and hear from the legends of the game. So far this year, I've had conversations with Randy Johnson, Pete Rose, Deion Sanders. Plus, every week we look at the state of Major League Baseball, which teams are exceeding expectations, which ones are struggling to meet them. Follow and listen to the Brett Boone Podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dawn Stensland here. Summer is upon us. No time like the present to get back out on the roads. My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles will help you find that luxury vehicle you've been eyeing. Piazza has thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles from brands such as Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Jaguar, Maserati, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, and more. PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com, PIAZZA. Stop by one of their Pennsylvania, Delaware, or New Jersey dealers. Tell them Dawn sent you.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
So many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli. Afternoons 3 till 7. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT. WPHT.
Woo!
All my life.
Miss Geeta Ramaswamy. Woo, I'm still feeling some kind of way just listening to that, like just being inundated. I mean, what you guys don't know, Denise, I see you. I'm going to come to you right after this. But what you guys don't know, because I don't really talk about it that much, is that, I never intended to be in the world of politics. I was living my best life, so I thought, but I felt this need to find a way to get involved. Now, I thought it was going to take me down a completely different path of getting involved in a way to save our country. I think if you are a red-blooded American, you see something has gone fundamentally wrong with how our nation is being ran. And it's not just a Democrat issue or a Republican issue or the cause of what we're experiencing right now, but you're just looking at this and saying something is wrong. And so I got into the world of politics, and then y'all know how that kind of all translated. But then I became the next group of people I despise the most, and that is consultants. I can't stand consultants for a variety of reasons. But now I'm walking behind the curtains on the Vivek Ramaswamy campaign, interacting with these people who, especially among Republicans, Democrats, we know they suck, but at least they win, right? But then you have these Republican consultants and we lose like everything. And you're watching how these people make decisions and none of it makes much sense. And you begin to realize like this is the reason why we lose. These are not the smartest group of people in the nation who fall into this career pattern or path. And you're looking at all of this and literally I'm walking and I'm looking and I'm just like, what in the world? I was like, my God, I need to find some kind of way to keep my mind. These people will literally make you lose your mind. And that started me down the path of studying neuroplasticity, neuroscience. And now I'm taking a class at Harvard. I have no intentions of getting a degree in this, but I find it so fascinating how the mind works, how the mind interacts with the brain, how the brain interacts with the body, just the interconnectedness of all of this, and how you literally keep and grow your mind, right? And so I find it so fascinating to talk to psychiatrists because this is what they do. And I'm listening to all of this, all of these things and all of this, and, and then beginning to understand the importance of what Geetha just said about learning to trust yourself, learning to be guided by your own compass and not by the photos that your friends and family and others are posting on Twitter or Facebook. You have to remember these people are only posting a snapshot in time. They're not showing you the before or the after of that photo. They're just showing this ready, set, smile, everybody, this plastic moment in time. And we tend to look at that and judge our own lives. And it is real, guys. I've traveled all across the nation. Our people are stressed. Denise, let me bring you in. What do you got to say, Denise? Where's Denise?
Do you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
I hear you. Yes.
Hello? Okay, so I am on my cell phone, and I do have your show on, so hopefully it's not interfering in the background.
It is not.
Of my phone. Okay, so anyway, first of all, Kathy, let me say I love you. I just want to say I love you.
Thank you.
And I love Dawn and Rich and all of them, but I love you. I love this whole station. I listen to it all the time. Second of all, I have been a Vivek Ramaswamy fan since the very first time I heard him. So we have that in common.
Yes.
Just listening to Mrs. Ramaswamy compels me to call because I am working with a very serious situation right now, and I don't even know if people are aware of it or not, but what is happening now due to this Biden administration and all the fentanyl that's coming over the borders, senior citizens who live in senior communities are ending up having their grandchildren live with them because the parents are dead. They're dead from fentanyl. So I'm dealing with this right now and trying to help somebody. So the grandchildren die. The grandchildren live with the seniors in a senior community because they have no place to go. Well, that is not allowed. So the grandparents, who probably have little money, the couple I'm trying to help now has about $32,000 a year. They have two granddaughters that came to stay with them because the mother died, and they are being fined and evicted, and their house padlocked. Well, they have nowhere to go. On $30,000 or $32,000 a year, you can't afford the rent at 2.5 times your monthly income. So where do they go? And all of these, rental help and this help and that help and the other help, it's not there. The messages are full. Call back again. The vouchers are all given out for a year. Blah, 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 blah. So here are these people who, and I get it in a senior community. I'm a senior as well.
And are they here? Are they here in Pennsylvania?
They are in New Jersey.
They're in New Jersey. Okay.
They're in New Jersey. Yes. Don't forget us Jerseyans because we love you.
I
we
know, and you guys do listen. You know what? I'm not going to give my phone number over the line here, but if you go to my, I don't know any other way to get you to give me your information other than to ask you to go to my Twitter page and into my DM and just DM me. What is your name?
My name is Denise.
Denise. Okay.
Yes.
I know some people all around. I would love just to hear more and see if what I have can assist. But again, go to Kathy, the number 4 Truth. That's the only way I know how to get your information
Kathy
to make sure I get it. Right.
Truth.
On Twitter, and just DM me. I'm always on there. Or on that section of it, and give me your information, and let me call you offline. But thank you so much, Denise, for sharing that. Joseph, I know I have you online right now, but let me just get to Charlie. I see you're calling from Philly, and then Helen and Bluebell. I'll come right to you.
Hello.
Yes. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. How you doing? I wonder if you could answer me a question. I've never gotten a good answer, but I hear these people, even on your radio station in the morning, saying that the Democrats, they're going to win all these women because they'll have the abortion and this, that, and the. And I don't understand how abortion is even an issue or how Firstly, I don't understand how it's legal because doesn't it say in the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution that every individual has a right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness?
Some people, Charlie, where have you been? Some people don't count. Some people
aren't all babies individuals that have their own DNA?
Charlie,
Well,
you and I agree. But in the world in which we live in, some people just don't matter, Charlie. Now I don't believe that. I mean, I believe.
The law.
Well, Charlie, listen.
The law should be the law. It shouldn't be about feelings,
I certainly believe that all life is value. I certainly believe that it is, incumbent upon us to fight for life. Even though there is, it seems to be a large number of women who want to murder their children or murder other people's children, I certainly believe I have every right to stand up and say, that's a life, that life is valuable. I want to do my part. They have the right to say, let me murder the baby. But equally, I have the right to say, no, that's a life. I want to save that life. However, why is it a political issue, however? Because let me tell you, when I'm on the street, when I was running my own campaign in 2022 and when I was running alongside Vivek Ramaswamy, nobody brought up that issue of abortion. People talked about the open borders. People talked about these high gas prices or high food prices, or they can't afford a home, or fentanyl, just like Denise was just talking about, like the future for our children. Nobody's talking about abortion. Democrats talk about abortion because it's effective of getting, people who've been trained to be emotional, all riled up in their emotions. And Republicans, unfortunately, we like to kneecap ourselves. We think if we don't say nothing about it, somehow it's not going to be an issue. And that doesn't work.
Well, between abortion, fentanyl, and other things that are happening in this world, we're not going to have any young men left.
Well, Charlie,
if there is a war or something,
I agree with you.
They better pull something out of the hat quick, because with all these kids dying, I can't imagine how there's any young men left, even if there was a war.
I know.
But
Charlie, thank you so much for calling.
Us.
Thank you so much for calling, Charlie. I'm going to let you go. But, I heard someone say to me, the left doesn't have to have children because they get to raise your children. Think about that, people. The left doesn't have to have children. They can murder all their babies. And while you and I are having babies and then putting them into government schools, guess what? They don't have to have babies. They just get to raise your babies. Let me go to Helen real quick. Hey, Helen.
Hi, Kathy. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I had to pull my car over because I wanted to respond and affirm what was being said with the donkey story and the message of be true to yourself. And I do professional development training for early childhood educators and family engagement trainings. And so I see a lot of what's happening with this new generation of parents. And what I really encourage strongly, and if I can get this message out, is it begins at home. And that was already said here today. It begins at home, and let's take responsibility for what kind of core values. What is your family mission statement? Do you say no to maybe every Sunday morning having soccer practice instead of worshiping something greater than yourself and teaching children those values? So I think it's just time for parents. It's okay to just slow down. You don't have to keep up. And yes, I know others will surpass you, but you know what? We're all going to end up at the same place at the same time. But are we going to look back and say that I feel good about where my family has been led?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it all happens within the...
I feel like a water bucket today. My son is 18. He just graduated from high school. We had this huge family backyard barbecue on this past Saturday, and we had over 40 people at our home, and we were very selective about the people who came. And I mean, and just to hear people stand up and pour into my son, and I'm looking at him because when my daughter was in kindergarten, my son was in second grade, and I made the decision to step out of the workforce to homeschool.
Yeah.
And it's it's that constant battle of I am woman, hear me roar. I have things to offer, but also I'm looking at my babies and I'm saying I don't want the government to raise my children. And now to see my 18-year-old and to see that this is an amazing young man who we are about to release into the world, I'm just grateful that I made the decisions. I got off. I stopped looking at other people and judging myself and tried to be as true as I could to myself and my husband. And I'm grateful.
Yeah. If I could just share one quick story, and maybe others will take up this tradition, but when I have 3 grandchildren, and I did have my whole family together this past weekend with the grandchildren. And I had the older people in our family tell a story about our parents who the grandchildren never knew, and the nieces, and to share things that they learned from the grandmother and grandfathers and great-grandmother and that they never knew. And I'm thinking, how do these things get passed down unless we tell our younger generation, the wisdoms that we've learned from or the things that we valued. So, whenever you can get a chance, get them together and let's hear these stories. That's the way it used to be, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, Helen, thank you so much for calling. Let me just jump right over to Joseph. I know, Joseph, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Listen, do we have like 2 minutes? 2 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
okay, Joseph, let me do 2 minutes with you. I'm going to hold you during the break and then come back. But I just wanted you to jump in. We're going to take a hard pivot now, guys. I'm going to stop crying because I asked my good friend, I have so many new best friends, guys. But Joseph Humir, is that how you pronounce your last name? Humeyer?
Yeah, Humeyer.
Okay, Humeyer.
correct.
Yeah. Joseph is a global security expert specializing in analyzing trans-regional threats in the Western Hemisphere. You are now the executive director of the National Security Think Tank Center for a Secure Free Society. So every time I speak to you, Joseph, you're either going to Latin America or flying out of Latin America. And it is kind of ominous every time I talk to you. But I want you to talk to us a little bit. Maybe you give me just like a 30-second blurb, and then I bring you back on the other side about these warships, these nuclear Russian warships that are now in Cuba. Everybody's telling us, don't worry about it. You told me the other day when I saw you, we should.
Yeah, so let me just kind of give you like the 3 bottom line up front on the warships. The first is it's a reflection of something that's bigger, which is failure in U.S. foreign policy. And I would argue, and we could get into this later, that Latin America has been the biggest failure of U.S. foreign policy in the 21st century. We've completely abandoned the region. We completely neglected it. And it doesn't make any sense because it's the region in which we live in. It's where we actually reside. And so that's
and what's the second one?
The second one is basically that the messaging from the Biden administration, which is basically nothing to see here, everything's normal, is exactly the wrong message. And I'll tell you why when we get back. But it's actually doing more harm than even trying to be a bit alarmist, which it is a bit alarming that Russian warships and a nuclear submarine with hypersonic missiles are sailing 90 miles away from Florida.
And what's the third message?
Well, the third is, I think, what our response should be. Yeah?
Okay.
And I think our response, and I don't know if we could get into that, but I think, this is reflective of a lack of deterrence.
Okay.
We no longer have deterrence in the world.
Sounds good. Stay right there, Joseph. See y'all on the other side.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
My dad loves Philly sports, and I need a Father's Day gift.
Tickets to see Joe Conklin are the perfect Father's Day gift.
Oh my goodness, it was absolutely wonderful. All the voices and the singing.
And just seeing my dad, seeing the look on my dad's face.
Just the mix of the comedy and the singing. You never knew which way they were going to go with it.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Wildwood Catholic Academy in North Wildwood, Saturday, June 29. And at the Ocean City Music Pier in Ocean City, New Jersey on Saturday, July 13th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
REM reunites for the first time in well over a decade as they're honored by the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Dozens of hikers say they took ill after visiting waterfalls near the Grand Canyon, and former flyer Sergei Bobrovsky and the Florida Panthers are one win away from hoisting the franchise's first Stanley Cup.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio, now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more. Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, Stephanie from Emmons. Are you not loving your bathroom? Is the King's Throne looking a little outdated and run down? Let Emmons Design Specialists design a bathroom that you will love and one that Emmons will redo in as little as 1 day. An affordable, maintenance-free bathroom with little to no inconvenience to you and your family. With finance options available, there's really only one problem. Your bathroom will be so nice, your king may never want to come out. Call Emmons today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on our website at callemmons.com.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized with help from Beacon. I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
Hey, Clementon. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
Yeah, if you don't like me, that's your problem.
Hey. Oh my goodness, I am having way too much fun. I love it. I love talking to you guys. Here's the number, 855-839. Oh, I need my glasses. 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, Joseph, you're still there, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Okay, so you said 3 things when you're looking at a nuclear warship from Russia in Cuba within striking distance. I was reading it. We have the Biden White House telling us it's not a problem. We have Russia telling us it's not a problem. We have Cuba telling us it's not a problem. I knew you would be true to form to tell me, no, girl, we have a problem. And you just laid out 3 reasons. 1, a failure of U.S. foreign policy. 2, the messaging from Biden is wrong. It's creating more harm than help. And 3rd, our response to it. Please expound.
Yeah, so let me go with the second, actually, because this messaging, this is what really concerns me, because what the intent is of Russia, and it's not just Russia, because Iran has warships that are heading towards the South Atlantic into the Caribbean as well. Sooner or later, China will probably have warships as well. But what's really concerning, what the damage that can be done, is the normalization of this activity. We're not accustomed to having Russian warships or Iranian warships or Chinese warships sailing in the Caribbean very close to the coast of U.S. territorial waters. The fact that the Biden administration is saying that this is completely normal and don't worry about it and there's no threat, well, the logical extension of that is that, well, then why doesn't it do it next month? And why doesn't it do it the month after that? Why doesn't it do it every month if it's nothing, if it's no problem, if there's nothing to see here, if it's completely normal? And that's exactly what Russia wants. Russia wants to normalize advanced naval deployments to the Caribbean on a regular routine basis. I've said this in other shows, but basically is Russia, Iran, and China have already held 6 joint naval exercises in the Gulf of Oman and the Indian Ocean, one as recently as a month ago. The idea is to bring those joint exercises into the Caribbean near the United States. And the Biden administration's messaging is actually catalyzing that by saying it's normal.
And now why would a country, Russia, that we have been fighting for years now with Ukraine, we have done everything we could to harm them, to cripple them, to beat them into submission. Why would the Biden administration tell us, oh, no, those nuclear warships are normal, go back to sleep? Even if it was something that they've done in the past, why would our government not be alarmed that they're now bringing that capability over here close to us?
Well, there's 2 things, Kathy. I think one is the Biden administration is being disingenuous because publicly they're saying nothing to worry about, it's not alarm. And I guess if you ask them, they would say, well, we're trying to calm the temperature. We don't want to alarm people. We don't want people to panic. But privately, they're active. They're sending military assets all around Cuba. They're sending nuke sniffers to make sure there's no nuclear signature. Southern Command, which is the command responsible for Latin America, is very active monitoring these ships. So they are concerned about it. But publicly, the way they're messaging it is trying to downplay the temperature. That what they would say is they're not trying to be alarmist. However, the problem with that message is, as I was saying before, is you're normalizing this activity. And one other thing, Kathy, so Russia has sailed naval ships to the Western Hemisphere, to Cuba in particular, in the years past. They did it in 2008. More recently, did it in 2019. They sent a spy ship, actually. But they've never sent a nuclear submarine. The submarine Kazan, they never sent a nuclear submarine. This is the first time they ever done. They sent nuclear bombers to Venezuela, which are planes, fighter jets, but they never sent a nuclear sub. And like I said, this is not a one-off. This is just the beginning. And I think really what the Russians are doing is they're testing the waters, literally, to be able to start to bring more naval assets into the Caribbean. But they're not going to do it by themselves. They're going to do it with the Iranians and then eventually with the Chinese. The next stop after Cuba is to Venezuela. And the reason that they're going to Venezuela is something that I think we talked about before in your show, which is about an impending war, a conflict between 2 countries in South America, Venezuela and Guyana, that has the potential to bring all those conflicts from Ukraine to Israel into the United States backyard. And I think that that's essentially where the third point, the lack of deterrence, the show of weakness, the lack of good messaging is inviting this activity closer to the United States.
To just keep growing, to just keep expanding. Well, thank you so much, Joseph, for jumping in. I mean, I know I had mentioned to you before, and I wanted you to get into it, because here's another thing. They're telling us that when I look at a map of our naval bases or our military bases in America, China owns farmland. I mean, it's like almost you can lay it on top of each other. And they keep telling us there's nothing to see there. Go back to sleep. In a word, is there anything to see there? Should we be concerned?
Yeah, so like if you lay 3 maps on top of each other, they have complete synchronization. They're basically the same map. One is U.S. military bases inside the United States, especially bases that are strategic for like missiles, deployment of missiles in air defense. You lay that map on, and over that you lay where China is buying farmlands. And as you mentioned, it's basically in the same location as these strategic military bases. But there's one more map that the DEA can provide you that you would lay on top of that, and it's where the Mexican cartels have their heavy presence, and it's in the same locations. So what you're seeing is a kind of a synchronized strategy on behalf of China to work with and through the Mexican cartels to buy farmland, undoubtedly then in some ways, quote unquote, lease the farmland to the cartels so that they can be able to create destabilization around our military facilities.
Chaos. Joseph, thank you so much. I got to run. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, play my music. Here we go, guys. Here's the call-in number, 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. Call me. Let's talk about it. Up next is Caroline Levitt. Yeah, y'all know her. She's with Trump. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS has raised the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes in recent years. This hits hard if you're behind on your taxes. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. If you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Imagine outpatient care where all your needs are met in one location. Jefferson Health's Honickman Center is where you'll discover nationally ranked specialty care and more, like patient ambassadors, imaging and lab services, a pharmacy, calming spaces, and valet parking. Designed by patients, for patients. Discover a new level of care, created with you in mind. To schedule an appointment, call 1-800-JEFF-NOW.
Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into their radio show Sundays at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Your small business deserves a strong financial leader. More than an accounting firm, you need a professional who will focus on growth and profitability. With Styles CFO Services, now you can afford an experienced CFO at the fraction of the cost of a full-time CFO. Styles CFO Services offers surprisingly affordable hourly rates, no retainers, contracts, or minimums, and a complimentary 21-point financial assessment. Visit stylescfo.com. That's STILESCFO.com. Accelerate the growth of your bottom line today with Styles CFO Services.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
What is this intro music? I was ready to start jamming. I was ready to get my energy up. Okay, that's okay. Warning. Hey, everybody. How are you guys? Oh, thank you. You are listening to the Dawn Stensland Show. I am filling in for her. My name is Kathy Barnette. Thank you so very much for listening in. I'm having the time of my life. I just love being able to come and talk politics and talk life and what's real with good people. So I'm very grateful. If you want to be a part of the conversation, please call in at 855-839-1210, 839-1210. And let me, because, I would be amiss if I did not tell you about my podcast. Yes, if you want to hear these same people, a longer format, go wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple or YouTube or Rumble or Spotify, even Twitter. Go and look me up. Kathy Barnette. The name of the show is The Kathy Barnette Show. Okay, I see Big Al is on the line. Hey, Al.
Hey, Kathy. How you doing? Can I just throw out a little compliment first?
Yes, always.
Yeah, I just want to compliment your screener because he does such a great job. It's the people that are behind the scenes that don't get enough credit for us because they make us look good. And I just want to throw out a compliment to you, too. I mean, you're a breath of fresh air. You do a fantastic job, and so does Dawn. I just wanted to just compliment you because I don't think you hear enough compliments.
Well, thank you so much. My husband would say that is true. I'm constantly peppering him for a compliment. But that would be Jim on the over here screening my calls. Thank you, Jim. Okay, your question.
Now what I want to say was this, is, we don't need another politician in as president. Just compare the 4 years of a businessman, Donald Trump, to the 4 years of Joe Biden, and there is no comparison because this country has to be run like a business. And Trump did a fantastic job. Just because people don't like his tweets, look at the policies that he put in place. We were safer. Taxes were better. Everybody was working. There was peace in the Middle East. Gas was $1.87 a gallon.
I remember that. Al, I remember that. It was $1.87 the last time I went to before Donald Trump left office. It was so cheap and it was so nice. And I had money in my pocket. I agree with you 100%. I mean, you won't hear any kind of negatives from me in regards to what you're saying. I agree. Absolutely. We need better people in office, and we need people who are not career politicians. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all of them, they've been in office longer than I've been alive. Now, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough that if you've been in office longer than I've been alive, that's a problem, because this is all you know is snakes and ladders. That's all you know is playing with monopoly money. You don't know how to balance a budget. $1 million is equivalent to $1 billion to these people. It doesn't matter to them, right? And I agree with you. We are in a hot mess of a situation in our world today.
And I want to just say one more thing. With this Biden and this digital coin, this is going to destroy America. People, I encourage the Jewish people to wake up. I encourage the African-American people to grow up, to wake up and see what's really happening. Donald Trump, when he was in office, gave more money to the top 10 black universities for the next 10 years. Obama made them come back every year and beg for money. Whatever they're accusing Trump of doing, they are doing, the Democrats.
Oh, yeah. You know what? There was something that came out yesterday with Saudi Arabia that they've decided next $1 billion. They've decided to not trade exclusively their oil in dollars. This is going to have a huge impact on our inability to or our ability right now just to keep printing money. No one is really talking about that. But Big Al, thank you so much. I agree. We were certainly living a much better life under Donald Trump prior to these last 4 years. But I think that that is also perhaps a positive, if there's a positive with these last 4 years, is that people can get out of their emotions. We now have a very clear, juxtaposed position. We can look at the 4 years Donald Trump was in office, and he handed over the nation with an inflation of like 1 point something percent, 1.8%, I think it was, to today, right? Under Biden, what America looks like today versus what it looked like under Donald Trump. And hands down, if you can get out of your emotions, you and be honest, then you can see there's a clear distinction between the two. And we're going to, in November, be able to have the opportunity once more to decide what direction we're going to go in. And with that, let me bring on my girl, Caroline Levitt. Hey, Caroline.
Hey, Kathy. So great to join you again. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys know Caroline, big, bright smile. She is Trump's campaign's national spokeswoman. And so you just heard a little bit of that previous conversation. You want to say anything?
I sure do. And I think your caller was spot on. Life was better under President Trump's leadership. And if there's a silver lining over the last 4 years, like you said, Kathy, it's that people are waking up to just how much better their lives were and realizing that President Trump was right about everything he said in 2020. He was warning us just how bad Joe Biden's administration would be. And now we are seeing in real time every day that he was right about Joe Biden opening our border to mass invasion of illegal criminals. He was right about the fact that Joe Biden was going to shut down our energy industry, which would see inflation and gas prices skyrocket as a result. President Trump was right to say that Joe Biden's been wrong on every foreign policy decision he's ever made, and his weakness on the world stage is going to lead America into war. And that's exactly what has happened. So I think that's why we see such a groundswell of support for President Trump from Americans of all backgrounds who are fed up with Joe Biden and ready to reelect President Trump back to the White House.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the guest I had on right before the caller and you, Caroline, was talking about these Russian warships that are now just 40 miles outside of Florida. None of this was happening before, right? Like they kept saying, oh, Donald Trump win in 2016. We're going to have wars, and rumors of wars. No, that actually is happening right now. I believe that we're in the midst of World War III. We just don't know about it yet because everyone keeps telling us, oh, just go back to sleep. Nothing is happening here. And so, again, I think if there's a silver lining in these last 4 years, and I'm really, stretching to call it a silver lining, is that now a lot of Americans who've just been manipulated with their uninformed emotions will be able to decide, am I going to live in this virtual reality that has been created by the Democrat Party, or am I going to wake up from my slumber and live in the world of reality?
And they're also going to decide, can I actually cast a ballot for Joe Biden, who clearly does not have the mental, physical stamina to lead this country right now, never mind for another 4 years. And not just Americans, but people around the world this morning woke up to headlines in newspapers. There was an Italian newspaper that had Joe Biden's cognitive decline on the cover.
Everyone's talking about it.
Everyone's talking about it. The Sun in the UK talked about Joe Biden meandering around at the G7. I mean, if you watch these videos, it's deeply alarming. I mean, he is literally shuffling around like a brain-dead zombie, and he has world leaders needing to usher him. We can't have this for another 4 years. Our adversaries, like you just said, Russia, who has ships off our coast, China, who's promising to take Taiwan before Biden leaves office, Iran, who's never been richer and stronger. These guys are watching us and laughing and plotting how they can continue to take advantage
why
of
wouldn't
Biden.
they? But why wouldn't they? I mean, why wouldn't places like Iran and China and Russia, why wouldn't they capitalize on this moment before the November election? Why wouldn't they do what they need to do to secure themselves and how they see the world, i.e. America not being the leader of it? Why wouldn't they?
Well, that's exactly right, especially as they watch Joe Biden's cognitive decline continuing. And they also see President Trump dominating in the polls and the increased likelihood that he's going to be back in office. And our adversaries don't want President Trump in office. That's why Vladimir Putin endorsed Joe Biden for this campaign. I always laugh when I see pundits on CNN or MSNBC saying, oh, Russia will love if Donald Trump's back in office. Yeah, right. Putin himself said that Joe Biden is a predictable politician, and it's better for Russia if Joe Biden is in the White House. And that's the truth. I mean, he said that. Those are his words, not mine.
This is so sad. These are sad days that we're living in. But let me just say, because you're absolutely correct. We're all looking at it. The world is looking at it about, Joe Biden. What are the conversations, behind closed doors, if you can give us some kind of peek into those discussions about the probability of a Michelle Obama on that November ticket? People are talking about it.
I think people like to talk about it because it's fun, but I don't think that's likely. I think that the Democrat establishment is going to do what they need to do to try and shuffle Joe Biden over the finish line. That's why his campaign, even though they didn't want to, did commit to debates. President Trump will stand on a debate stage with Joe Biden, in a couple of weeks. The Democrat convention is set for August. I mean, they're sticking to it. They will try to hide in as much as they can.
So you don't think there's anything there with them having an earlier debate, a debate that's so early? I mean, we've never had a debate this early in the presidential season before. You don't think there's anything there?
Well, the reason we're having an early debate is because President Trump demanded one, and he said he wanted debates earlier and wanted them anytime, anywhere, any place. And Joe Biden on the Howard Stern show, whether he even knew it or not, committed to an early debate, and then his handlers had to kind of backtrack and accept. So, of course, they accepted on CNN, which is fine. We'll go to CNN. We'll go to MSDNC, as President Trump has said. President Trump's strong. He has a good record. He'll debate Biden anywhere. But no, I don't think it will be Michelle Obama on the ticket. I think they're going to do what they need to do to push Joe Biden over the finish line, and unfortunately for them, it's not going to work.
Last question for you, Caroline. Can you give us any insight into Trump's debate strategy? Is he going to come out hard, fast, and furious, or is he going to kind of like he did in that 2020 kind of race debate that he had then, or is he going to come out a little bit more deliberate?
Well, you'll see. I don't want to get ahead of the president's strategy. What I will say, look, is the guy's prepared. He is out there giving hours-long speeches without a teleprompter. His memory recall is incredibly impressive. I will say this, as a younger person working for him, I'm in my late 20s now. I'm getting old, Kathy. But
whatever.
You know what? It is hard. It's hard for me to keep up with this man. I mean, he's constantly working. He knows about every story that's in the news all the time. So he's ready, and he's ready to contrast his record of success with Joe Biden's weakness.
I love it. I was on a TV interview yesterday, I think it was, and they asked me about Donald Trump pulling out the Cheesecake Factory menu and just reading off the prices. And I have to say, it's just brilliant when, because, a lot of, especially Republican politicians, they love to talk to the quote unquote ruling class. They love to talk to the country club kind of members, and they bypass the people. But it's brilliant when he talks to the people and, shows that level of empathy, that he understands what real people who actually, these inflationary prices actually hurt real people, the billionaires, the 100 millionaires. It doesn't impact them as much, but that was just sheer genius.
Mm-hmm. The fundraising, you mean?
I don't know what it was, but he pulled out a Cheesecake Factory menu and started.
Yeah.
I think it was one of his rallies.
Yeah, that was at the Las Vegas rally. Look, he's real. He gets it. He understands the struggles that Americans are facing, and he wants to call attention to it, especially in terms of inflation. Everything is costing more under Joe Biden's leadership. That's why President Trump keeps rolling out great policy. When he was in Las Vegas, that same rally, he also announced he's going to end taxes on tips for service workers. And that's a big deal in Nevada, of course, with the hospitality and tourism industry. There are so many waitresses and servers and bartenders that depend on their tips, but then they're getting taxed to death on them for their income. That's not going to happen anymore. President Trump's going to ask Congress to remove taxes on tips for service workers, which had a huge applause line and has really been music to the ears of the service industry across the country.
I love it. Caroline Levitt, Trump's campaign national spokeswoman, thank you so much for dropping in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kathy. Take care.
Okay, you too. All right, guys, listen, here's the call-in number, 855-839-1210, 855-839. Where's my outro music? 855. 855-839-1210. We're going to pay some of these bills, and then we're going to come right back on the other side. I am so excited. Make sure you call in. Blessings.
From 1210 WPHT, it's Sterling every night. We're here Monday to Friday and Sunday night to take you from the transition of having to deal with people during the day to our special Midnight Misfits. Sterling every damn night, featuring...
Apparently this cartel cutie was busy making sure people got their cocaine at strip clubs.
And you. Sterling every night, 1210 WPHT.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. I'm so excited to celebrate Father's Day this weekend with my kids. Have you gotten anything for Dad yet? Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com right now. Put in my name, Zioli, at checkout. You can get gift packages, mouth-watering gift packages for Dad starting at just $89 when you put in my name, Zioli. And if you're running late, if you procrastinated, Omaha Steaks has got your back. Send Dad a free surprise notification to his email inbox to let him know his gift is on the way. And every purchase is backed by the unconditional money-back guarantee, the best in the business. Mouth-watering juicy burgers, steaks perfectly aged for 21 days. Dads love great food. I know, I'm a dad, and I can't wait to celebrate. 5 generations of family-owned American beef. That's what Omaha Steaks is about, and there's so many options to choose from. So go to omahasteaks.com right now. Put in my name, Zioli, at checkout. Get those gift packages for Dad starting at just $89. And if you're running late, they'll send the free email notification. omahasteaks.com, promo code Zioli.
Listen to Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sunday mornings at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Learn about investing, tax strategies, and more. Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sunday mornings at 9.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows.
See Willie Nelson's 4th of July picnic with Bob Dylan, Robert Plant, Alison Krauss, and many more at Freedom Mortgage Pavilion. And check out Daryl Hall and Elvis Costello at TD Pavilion at the Man July 10th. See Joe Russo's Almost Dead at Island Water Park at Showboat Resort July 13th. There's an evening with James Taylor at TD Pavilion at the Man August 30th. And see Pod Save America at the Met Philadelphia presented by Highmark on October 6th. For tickets and info, go to livenation.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
REM reunites for the first time in well over a decade as they're honored by the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Dozens of hikers say they took ill after visiting waterfalls near the Grand Canyon, and former flyer Sergei Bobrovsky and the Florida Panthers are one win away from hoisting the franchise's first Stanley Cup.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio, now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
The forecast for hot summer weather should come as no surprise. And the forecast for high energy costs shouldn't either. PJ Fitzpatrick has a great plan to cool your electric bill. Replace your leaky old windows with energy efficient and budget friendly insulated windows. The PJ Fitzpatrick team, voted best of Philly, has replaced hundreds of thousands of windows. And they've earned thousands of 5-star reviews. Call today and save thousands on your windows and electric bill. Visit trustpj.com today for a free window consultation.
Pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, or back that won't go away? Check out QC Kinetics. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code EARN.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. June is Men's Health Month with Rescue Natural Supplements. Life is busy. It can be hard to focus on your health. Thankfully, Rescue Men's Health Supplements have the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that provide men with what they need. Rescue supplements can help boost testosterone, promote a healthy prostate, as well as support energy and vitality for an active life. And for the month of June, when you buy one of their Men's Health single bottles, you'll receive a second totally free. Just use the code STRENGTH for the buy one, get get one offer. To order, call a rescue product consultant, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, or shop online by visiting res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Discover the amazing benefits of Rescue Natural Male, Prime RX, Super Prostate, and more. Again, use that code STRENGTH for the buy one, get one free offer on Rescue Men's Health products. Shop res-q.com and do it today.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
I am phenomenal. What's up, Pennsylvania? This is Kathy Barnette. I am filling in for Dawn Stensland on the Dawn Stensland Show. Let me just go right to Lisa. Lisa, hey, what's up?
Oh, Kathy, we just wanted to call and tell you we think you're great. We so look forward to hearing not only your message, but your knowledge. And you are just presenting such a fabulous picture of exactly what's going on.
Wow.
And your perspective, we also wish you were a regular host. You are the best. You are absolutely the best.
Thank
we
you.
enjoy you, and please give Vivek our best. We love him too.
I will text him after. I'm sure he's going to have a mouthful of things to say after his mama being on here with me. But Lisa, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathy. We love you.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. Okay. Flipping the page. Serious conversation. Herbert, are you there?
I'm here. How are you, Kathy? Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. Actually, it's not my show. I'm just filling in. You know, people get real sensitive about that. But no, it's not my show. I'm just filling in for my good friend, Dawn Stensland, on her show. But Herbert Esmahan, did I pronounce that correctly?
You pronounced it perfectly, yes.
Look at that. I'm really trying. For you guys who don't know Herbert yet, Herbert is a political analyst from El Salvador. You're actually in El Salvador right now, right?
That's right. I'm in the city of San Salvador, El Salvador.
Yes, and you have been a huge supporter of President Bukele. Did I say that right?
Correct. Yes, just so you know, you pronounced that perfectly as well.
Great. Awesome. Let me tell you, well, it is work, but I really want to get it right. But nonetheless, you have been a huge supporter of the President Bukele's movement from the very beginning, back when the United States snubbed him when he came to Washington, D.C. They did not want to. I remember that. Like, this is, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where Biden did not want to meet with President Bukele when he came to Washington, D.C. And now, from what I hear, our government is somewhat courting him, trying to understand, how did he do it? How did he do it? I listened to President Bukele on Tucker Carlson did an interview with him, and I listened to all of it twice. And he's so charming, so endearing, like a breath of fresh air in the Western Hemisphere of things. And he talked about El Salvador prior to him was the most dangerous country in the world, and now they're safer than America. How did he do it?
God has truly blessed El Salvador, and I'll tell you what, President Bukele has been a faithful leader. He's been a patriot since day one. First of all, the first challenge he confronted running for president of the country is bringing people of different ideologies together by finding common goals that we all needed, which, for example, in El Salvador, the number one priority was security, because people could not live normal everyday lives due to the high crime and the gang activity. So by finding common goals that benefited everyone, he brought the nation together. El Salvador is more united and more democratic than it's ever been, and this is all thanks to these common goals that President Bukele focused on. And everyone benefits from the restoration of the country, because nobody wants to live in a country where you can't go out, where you can't send your kids to school, where you can't open a business, because you're afraid that gang members are going to come and kill you, or even demand pay, because many of the businesses that used to open up back in the day with the old government, they had to pay a monthly or weekly fee to the gangs in order to be protected from them. And that made absolutely no sense. Now, thankfully, El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the whole region. And this is all thanks to God and President Nayib Bukele, who's really given it his all to restore this nation.
I love it. I really do. And the fact that when I listened to his interview with Tucker Carlson, how he kept giving thanks to God. So one, he's not afraid to give God thanks and credit. And he constantly said, he would answer a question by saying, I'm going to give you the official response, and then I'm going to tell you what actually happened. And when he talked about, what officially he did, with the gangs and locking people up and all of that. And then he said, now, so that's the official answer, but here's the actual answer. It was all God. It was all God,
Correct.
right? And so,
Correct.
what
Glory to him.
what a breath of fresh air. Now, the things that he mentioned in this interview and what I read, in other articles, and when I listened to him speak, they're not rocket science. You lock up criminals. You deploy all of your efforts to get rid of crime in your nation, and that it becomes, you work and you receive. That doesn't sound like rocket science. And yet here we have America with open borders, crime, crime higher than the rate of El Salvador, which was just 3 years ago the most unsafe country in the entire world. Why do you think it's not rocket science, but we're clearly not doing it? Why do you think
Correct.
people are not doing it? And I'm just going to put it out there. I know you may not want to talk ill of another country, but in America, we are truly struggling with the high crime rate, the surge in crime and theft in our country.
I'll tell you what, a lot of international organizations have to do with it, because the moment that in our country President Bukele started restoring law and order, a lot of international organizations tried to get involved. Wow. And they came with concerns about human rights. But here's the funny thing. When the human rights of the hardworking, everyday Salvadorans were being violated by the gangs, everyone remained quiet. But as soon as the gang members were being put in jail, a lot of these organizations started being concerned about their human rights.
Is that?
The human rights of the murderers, the rapists,
Yes.
the extortionists. Now, you ask yourself, why is that? Well, it's the old saying, you divide and you conquer. By having an unstable society, it is easy to divide a country, to create not just political division, but societal division as well. And that leads to easier control.
What is the purpose of international country? Because you're absolutely correct. Here in America, if you're a straight, hard-working man or woman who just want to take care of your family, and God forbid you be a Christian, oh my goodness, these people, hellfire and damnation starts raining down on you. But if you are low life, murdering people, look at George Floyd. This was a low life of an individual. I don't appreciate how he died. I think it's horrible how he died. But at the end of the day, we certainly should not be erecting murals and worshiping at the feet of George Floyd, who, as he lived, was a horrible individual. That's just one example of what we're seeing all across our nation. So I agree with you. We don't care about the lives of the hardworking Americans here. But, oh my God, forbid you lock up a criminal. You have all of this conversation about human rights. And to your point, they're wanting to divide. Now, my next question is, why? What is their purpose of dividing?
A divided nation is easier to control, Kathy.
Control by who? Who are the people who are trying to control? Have you
Well,
figured
you
it
know
out?
that's the question that we're all trying to figure out. But
Yeah.
I will tell you that these globalist entities, like for example the Open Society Foundation by George Soros and such, they've got their tentacles everywhere in the world, and it's very difficult to try and do things right when you have these kind of organizations working against doing the right things, which is what they're doing on an international level. And I want to say something that's very interesting that I think the listeners in the United States are going to enjoy hearing, especially if they are of conservative views, that thanks to President Bukele, the percentage of illegal immigrants from El Salvador heading towards the United States has drastically dropped, because now that our country is stable again, people are not fleeing the country. They have no need to immigrate anywhere. In fact, I don't know if you saw this in Tucker Carlson's interview with President Bukele, many Salvadorans are deciding to come back.
Yes.
Salvadorans lived in the U.S., that lived in Europe, are coming back to their country because their country is safe and providing the opportunities that they left trying to find.
Yes, I did read that, or I did hear that when he was talking about it. And you know, and to your point, a lot of the immigration or migration that's happening and coming into our country is because, you know, you have some good people who want good things and they're looking for that, right? And so people would leave, for example, El Salvador because it was the most unsafe place in the world and they're trying to find a better future. Unfortunately, we have a number of criminals as well who are taking who's taking advantage of these open borders and these ridiculous policies coming from our current administration, as well as there are some very nefarious actors all around the world that wants to
I'll tell you
harm.
what, Kathy, if a country doesn't have borders, it's not a country anymore.
Wow.
I believe in strong borders for every nation.
Say that again for the people at the back of the bus.
If a country does not have strong borders, it is not a country anymore. It becomes public property, basically, and it's true, you know. I believe in Central America, we've got stronger borders than we're seeing in many first world countries. And I'll tell you what, when we go and vote, for example, when we have our democratic elections in countries like El Salvador, we require photo ID. You even have to leave your fingerprint to verify that it's actually you who's voting. And then I hear stories about other places where you don't even have to bring a picture ID.
In America,
I think to myself,
in America.
then I think to myself, this is a little odd, you know?
Well, it's criminal, but I appreciate you. I see my producer tell me I have to wrap up. Thank you so much. I really wanted someone from El Salvador, someone close to what has happened there, because it is inspiring to those of us who are watching our country being dismantled right in front of us. And if you say something, you're a racist, I'm black, but they don't care. I'm a racist, I'm a bigot, I hate people. When you're just looking at these things don't make sense. And what I see happening in El Salvador, it is truly bringing hope, especially when he talked about following the rules of law to make these kind of changes.
Yes, and I'd like to just close up with a following message, and that's always embrace your beliefs and never let anyone talk you down of doing the right thing. President Bukele has proven that the right thing can be done. Your nation does have hope, and it can be restored. It's all about having the right leadership and fighting off the right enemies, which are many, but little by little, they're going to be defeated, because if we have God on our side, no one can stand against us.
Amen. I love it. What a wonderful way to close out this segment. You are amazing. Next time y'all are doing something big in El Salvador, please contact the girl. I would love to be a part of that. I just want to be around good people who are doing good things.
Absolutely.
And so thank you so much
Absolutely.
for coming on, Herbert. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Kathy. God bless. Take care.
God bless. My outro. Okay, guys. Here's the number, 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. I hope y'all are getting just a glimpse of, you know, just the amazing potential that we have as a country. This is the greatest country on the planet. We could be anything. Don't be weak and immoral. I'll see y'all on the other side.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
A cold front will approach the Delaware Valley today, and ahead of it, it'll be hot and humid. Watch out for some late-day strong to severe thunderstorms, high 92. Tonight, some showers and storms this evening with a low 66. And for Saturday, less humid, becoming mostly sunny with a high 84.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. The NBA Finals are finally here, and FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you the chance to win alongside the champions. Because right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with a winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use on same-game parlays, live bets, and so much more. And there's no better place to bet the finals action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Dom to get started. Take a shot at an extra $200. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/250. Ramp.com/250. RAMP.com/250.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Life can get hectic. Wouldn't you love to retreat from the noise? Take a breath. Visit Malvern Retreat House, the nation's oldest and largest Catholic retreat house, located on a stunning campus in Chester County. Surround yourself in God's beauty while you step back, reflect, and recharge. Malvern Retreat House hosts men and women's retreats, plus couples retreats, spiritual direction, recovery retreats, and more. For retreat information and schedules, go to malvernretreat.com. Retreat from the noise. Hear God's voice.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have someone else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement but don't have a plan customized to your goals, that's kind of like taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in your suitcase. Seems like a stressful way to start what should be a relaxing time. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to help reduce future taxes, along with a clearly defined income strategy. Call Jim at 610-894-7415 for your complimentary retirement game plan, or visit retirereadyfg.com. That's 610-894-7415.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriati, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Yo, Roy is Ford. We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
All right, Henry. I hear you. That is Henry's selection of music to bring me back in for the final portion. Were you going to say something, Henry? No, I can't hear you. Okay. So,
I love Nas. I just had to get him in here.
okay, well look at that. Okay, I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed whatsoever. Okay, guys, this is the last segment. So if you want to call in, this is it. 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. And with that, I am going to welcome in my last guest for the day, Gavin Wax. Hey, Gavin.
Hey, Kathy. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no. Thank you so much for making yourself available. I appreciate it. You are being heard all across Pennsylvania and New Jersey, mind you. So thank you so much for joining us. For those who do not know, Gavin is the president of New York Young Republican Club, and I always see these amazing events packed out with people, but then I'm looking at all of my friends who flew down to President Bukele's inauguration, and there you were in the mix. I was like, get Gavin on this show. How was that for you?
Oh, it was a great time, Kathy. First time to El Salvador. You could tell it's a country that's moving up, that's really recovering from years of war and gang violence, and they have some great leadership there with Nayib Bukele, so it's a great thing to see and witness, and it just shows that things can turn around really quickly, whether it's in El Salvador or in the United States, if we have the right leadership.
It can be done. I think that is what is so inspiring. Right before you, Gavin, I had Herbert Esmahan. You probably met him also over there in El Salvador. He's a political analyst, been there with President Bukele from the very beginning. He was on just kind of talking about the things that President Bukele did to turn the nation around in such a short amount of time. One of the constant conversations from my friends who went to El Salvador was just how free it felt, how safe it felt, how clean it was. Was that your experience as well?
Oh, absolutely. I'm good friends with Herbert, and I share a lot of his sentiments. And when I was down there, you could I definitely felt safe. You know, we walked around, the old city. We walked around, more, not exactly the most touristy areas, but I never felt at all unsafe. It's an extremely safe country. Wow. It's a country that's proud of what they're doing. And I think in a few years, we're going to be talking about El Salvador as kind of like a Singapore in Central America. We're going to be talking about it like another Miami. It's going to really be built up. You have all the Bitcoin people heading down there. They're bringing in a lot of new money. They're building like crazy. New buildings are going up left, right, and center. So it's a beautiful thing.
Well, that is really good, right? Because there are places in America now. I do not come down to Philadelphia without practicing my Second Amendment. And because I can't practice my Second Amendment in New York, I don't go to New York any longer. I mean, you walking down the street in New York, you're seeing people get hit in the face, the surge in crime all across our nation. What can we learn from what they're doing in El Salvador? What do you think?
Well, we just have to relearn what we used to know, and what Nayib Bukele is bringing back. It's that we have to elevate victims above criminals. We have this twisted mindset in places like New York and other blue cities where they elevate the criminals, where they elevate the thugs, where they refuse to prosecute, where they refuse to jail, where they refuse to enforce the law. If we just started enforcing the law again and locking people up who should be locked up, which is exactly what they did in El Salvador, it's really just that simple, Kathy, and all of a sudden crime will go away. We've just had this soft on crime approach.
It's not rocket science.
We've just let a lot of things slide. Yeah, it's not rocket science. Exactly.
It really
it's very
isn't.
easy. We just need leadership.
We need leadership. And and people like me, I'm sure people like you as well, I find myself ruminating on why? Because this isn't rocket science. Why would people in our country be the generation that destroyed the greatest nation on the planet. And I can't think of anything else other than people have become, very corrupt, very compromised, whatever it may be. But I guess we don't care about the why as much as we care about the who can pull us out of this death spiral we find ourselves in right now.
Amen. Listen, I think President Trump gets it. I think, we have a lot of common sense Republicans, whether in New York or elsewhere, who are running for state and local office, who get it, who want to change things. And then I always say this has never been a policing issue. This has been a prosecutorial and judicial issue. We have an entire legal system, an entire judicial system right now that's focused on being weaponized against people like President Trump, against political opponents, rather than going after all of these, lifelong career criminals. And then you have an issue, obviously, of mental health that's not being addressed with a lot of these people who are just allowed to walk the streets when they really should be committed to institutes. They have drug problems, they have psychological problems, and it's inhumane to leave them on the street. And I think, most of these, these feel-good liberal policies are now being twisted into sort of this nihilism. I think they want the crime. I think they want the filth. I think they want to destroy, because that's just kind of the people that we're dealing with here. We're not dealing with rational people anymore on the left. We're dealing with some really sick and twisted folks.
I mean, very true. Hence the reason why, although I say why, I'm training myself to just move past the why. These people are not sane. The things we're looking at, right? Little girls having their breasts removed, little boys being chemically castrated, men competing with women, going into women's spaces, and we're all supposed to just pretend like all of this is normal. It's not normal. And whether I get to the why or not, it's the fact that it's happening. And now we need to really focus on getting better people into a position of authority to begin to pull our country off the precipice where we find ourselves right now.
Amen. I think we have a lot of people that are just too scared to call it for what it is, call it not normal, like you said, calling it sick, twisted, demented, and just say it needs to stop. I think that's where this all starts, is we just need people who are less worried about what the media is going to say and are less worried about, how they're going to be attacked, and are more interested in actually solving these problems, pushing back, and standing firm on some basic stuff like, gender and women's sports and all these other things. These are these are safe political topics.
A secure border. Herbert said if a country doesn't have a border, it's not a country, it's a public space, right? This isn't rocket science, right? And yet, if you say something about it, oh, you're phobic, oh, you're racist, oh, this, right? And you're right, because I move away from the why to the who, but then also the what. What can I do? And we're always thinking this is going to be, arduous and some manna from on high coming down. But it's really, again, it's not rocket science. What I find that it says, when I look at people like Bukele, it's just being willing to stand up and say, this is wrong. No more. I'm putting a stake in the ground. I'm not moving. It's as simple as that, actually.
Yeah, having a backbone, having some balls, if I can say that. And listen, you bring up the border, bringing it back to Bukele, this was a country that sent tons of migrants to the U.S. when they were under this gang warfare and the civil war. Now that that's stopped, now that there's peace, it's actually the opposite. You're seeing a lot of Salvadorans in the U.S. repatriate. So this is the kind of stuff that we need to see replicated across Central and Latin America and many of these other countries, having these strong leaders who are going to bring about peace and prosperity. And all of a sudden, you're actually also helping our own border crisis, and you're making it a lot easier for us to handle the inflows because now less people are coming. But this is the exact reason why they went after him, and they're going after other people that sort of share his vision, share his leadership style, because they want weak people. They want people that could be corrupted. They want people who could be purchased and bought off, basically.
Yeah, you know what? At the beginning of my time here today, at the top of the 10 o'clock hour, I had Vivek Ramaswamy's mother, Geeta Ramaswamy, on. She, before she was Vivek's mom, she was a psychiatrist, right? Sometimes we women, we forget that we actually had a personality before, we actually had children. But nonetheless, one of the things we talked about was something you mentioned a few moments ago that I want to double click on, and that is the mental health disorder or crisis that we find ourselves in today. And I was talking to Geetha earlier this week about a chart I stumbled upon, which is, I don't know if you've heard of this, the U chart of happiness. It charts happiness by age, and it literally looks like a U. So the younger you are, the happier you are, right? Especially around that 18, 25-year-old. You're happy. You don't have any bills. You're just living life. And then according to the historical view of the chart, as you turn 40 and 50, it's like this is more likely to be depressed because now you got bills to pay, you got mortgage, you're looking at the world, all of that. But then the uptick of that you is when you retire, you have your grandkids, yada, yada. But today, starting like around 2017, we began to see the inverse of that chart. Young people, specifically between the ages of 18 and 25, are the most unhappy people, not just in America, but in 83 different countries. Suicidal, anxiety, depression. You're a young person. You're the president of the New York Young Republican Club. You see a lot of young people. Talk to me about that for a moment.
Yeah, Kathy, it's very sad. I mean, what we're seeing is a lost generation, a lot of hopelessness. And I think that chart and how you explained it really sums it up. I mean, basically, we have a lot of young people who are now, suffering from higher rates of suicide, higher rates of drug use, hopelessness, nihilism. They don't feel like they have a purpose. They no longer go to church. They no longer can or want to start families. They no longer can or want to start businesses. They're struggling to move up in the corporate sphere, making more money, being able to afford a house, all the things we should have sort of took for granted.
It's depressing.
Very depressing. These mortgage rates, they're crazy. But this is all a consequence of, we have economic issues on one side where, we have this Biden economy, this inflation, costs are rising, wages are stagnant, people can't afford what they used to be able to afford. And then you got the spiritual and the cultural. You got, these forces we keep talking about pushing all of this nonsense on young people, and they're being, they're falling under that sort of spell. And of course, you add all of this, these drugs that are pouring in, whether they're legal or illegal, and you have a recipe for disaster. So it's a very sad situation. We need to turn things around. It's a problem that's impacting the entire Western world, not just the United States.
It is. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on, Gavin. I appreciate what you're doing out there in New York. I love the energy whenever I see you out there and I see you across television. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, everybody, that's my time. Oh, my God, it goes by so quickly. Listen, if you want to hear more of me and what I'm talking about, check out my podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube, Rumble. Go and get it, download it. Help me help you. I'm doing my part. I need your support. So go look up The Kathy Barnette Show. Until next time, blessings and take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Ad paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message.